In the name of the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit, one God, let us begin with the help of the Lord. From wise monks, our teachers, who spoke with us, we didn't find how much we wished, for which we grieved and we became sad, but the Lord alone knows. The month of Mescharim began on Tuesday, the evangelist John. The month of Thichiti began on Thursday. And while King Demetros was in Gondar came envoys of King Tekel Giorgisi from Tigray, they entered the city and made a proclamation through a herald, saying, "Let every man come and receive me," together with Alula, by the way of Wegar the inhabitants of the city rejoiced. This Lord of ours protected this city when he entered it, and when he was driven out of it the country was disturbed. And the Deji Amachi Alula, while he was in the Dembia, afflicted the inhabitants of the city. After that, the K. Amachi Alula fell ill, and died on the 26th of Tekapt. On Monday, he was buried in Saraksa. Heater began on the Sabbath day. On the 18th of this month, our King Tekel Giorgisi departed from Hentalo, and the Deji Amachi Alula, to receive the king, departed from where he was encamped, on the 12th. After this, Ahmed arrived, whom they called Quilasi, on the way to Chechaho, after having reunited with the Lasito Sea, and camped in Thyre Ayabella. The Baghetiri was severely oppressed. From there he departed, and came to camp in Arinigo. The inhabitants of Maxidermaria came to meet him, and when he found them, he deceived them and sent them away in peace. Then he departed, and proceeding in stages, arrived at Gondar, pitched his camp on the edge of the city, and entered the abode of King Demetros. The Abun and the Echiagie came, he met with them and talked at length, without profit. The Metropolitan, our Abba Josab replied to him saying, "Why did you come here, being you a pagan? Instead it would be better for you that for yours half destroyed the Lord the leaders of the Begemder and the Amhara." And he scolded him greatly. Indeed, that infidel is. She began to love, and was not indignant at the sweetness of his speech and the sweetness of his mouth, remembering the word of the book. He did not vilify him, as it is said, "Do not humble yourself to a foolish man, do not fear people when they get rich and the glory of his house grows." No one entered the neighborhood of the Abun. But the Gala penetrated the neighborhood of the Exegie, and sacked 2 houses. Then the boss proceeded with the appointments and dismissals. He elected Uwan Ba Uasan Hailu to the charge of Ross, but we do not know the names of the other elected officials. Then he left Gondar on the 22nd of Tassas and went in stages. Arriving at the Reb, he launched columns of militia, and many men died. Then he left and camped in Dangora Gabaya, beyond Ter, came to Madara Mariam, and plundered all its possessions, which up to this moment never have been violated. Let's go back to the beginning of the story. While Rasualda Selassie was in his camp, he had a herald make a proclamation, saying, "All the inhabitants of Tigray follow our king Takla Giorgis. Whoever remains will be plundered the house, and the possessions will be stolen." Then Rasualda Selassie left with the king of kings Takla Giorgis, making the earth tremble for guns and horses, as David says, "He made the earth tremble and I upset it." And this Ualda Selassie is like Alexander, of whom the book says, "He eats the serpent, and tramples what remains with his foot." O Rasualda Selassie, how could I tell the story of your exploits and your good deeds? In truth, you were similar to Alexander, as these enclosed with iron gates Og and Magog, so you enclosed with the fame of your prowess the inhabitants of Teltel and Diazebo. But your good deeds, which you did to the king and his army, will not fail. Indigli left Entelo in the direction of Avergele, forded the river Tekaze, and came to the district of Semion, which is called Lore. Basha Haram and Balambaras Gabra. Amlat gave battle to Ras Gabre, without hearing the king and Rasualda Selassie, and that night Ras Gabre fled and barricaded himself on his Mbala called High, having by habit of fleeing and staying like a deer in the mountains rich in caverns. Then they left, and they encamped at Lore. They set out from Lore and set up camp in Sabra. Rasualda Selassie besieged and compressed that Mba as Joab besieged, and he compressed Abel and cut off the head of Sabuhe son of Behor, and went back.